So today I want to look at a complete beast of a lens. This one. This is the Reflex-Nikkor 500mm f8 catadioptric or mirror lens. It is a massively impressive piece of kit. It's also incredibly difficult to use. We'll come on to that. This lens was produced between 1968 and 1983, but looking at the quality of the build on this one, you would not know that. These things were built to last. They are very, very impressive. The term catadioptric or mirror lens refers to the fact that you can see here in the middle there is a black disc. What this lens does is it basically bends the light. The light comes in, it hits a mirror at this end, goes forwards, hits the small black disc that you can see in the front of the lens, and then goes into the film or the sensor. This means that the lens, which should be about this long, can be compressed into a much shorter space. It has a certain disadvantage though, in that these have a fixed aperture. This one theoretically is f8, that's what it's marketed as. My camera thinks it's f11, and most reviewers have actually come to the conclusion that it's much closer to f11 than it is f8. The C part in its designation means that this is the multi-coated version of it, and that was a big deal at the time because the multi-coating actually stopped light dispersion and improved the quality of the image considerably. Mount it back onto the camera. So the camera lens here comes with its own tripod mount, and this tripod mount can be rotated through 90 degrees. So if I press the little button that is here, it's a bit tricky with my thumbs, the whole of the mount rotates so you can use the camera in this orientation, or you can put it back to landscape orientation. So this 500mm lens is a mirror design called catadioptric. It bounces light twice inside the lens. This means that the Nikon lens designers were able to make a large telephoto lens as small and as light as possible. It doesn't seem light, it's about a kilo, but compared to the weight of a 500mm prime lens, yeah, it's light. It's essentially the same process they used for designing the Hubble Space Telescope. So it may not be the best lens in the world, but I think the principle is quite good. All designs though inevitably lead to some sort of trade-off, and the trade-off here is that these mirror lenses have fixed apertures. The aperture on this lens, well, theoretically it's f8, but all my cameras say it's f11. The other trade-off is that there is a mirror hotspot in the middle of any of the images. Most of the time you don't notice this, but in circles of confusion, what we now call bokeh, these result in donut-shaped circles of confusion, which either you like or you don't like, but you can't avoid them. Again, one of the other trade-offs that you come across when using this sort of lens is that you need very, very high shutter speeds. The rule of thumb is the shutter speed should be the reciprocal of the focal length. Therefore, a 500mm lens, the longest shutter speed that you should use is 1/500th of a second. So that means that you've got a small aperture, you require a high shutter speed, and even then the camera is going to be fairly unstable. I have tried this without a tripod and with a tripod, and it has to be said it works a lot better if you're using a tripod. In my estimation on my camera, and I tried this on both my D800 Nikon and my D850 Nikon, the images tend to be a little bit overexposed. Therefore, I've gone for about a 0.7 underexposure on my exposure compensation dial. I've been out, I've taken some pictures. It's really, really difficult to focus. It is very susceptible to heat haze. I've created a little image gallery at the end, and to be honest, the one right at the end is now my banner picture on my social media, because this is the one that I actually like. I like the way that the long focal length of the lens compresses the image. You make up your own mind, of course, but I think this is an acquired taste. It takes a lot of getting used to. It's not a lens for the faint-hearted, but in the right conditions, it can produce some very pleasing images. See what you think in the image gallery. Cheers.